This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. Browns football is back. We get to see what those new, beautiful, glossy, classic white face mask Browns helmets that they revealed in the summer are going to look like during game day. We get to see Jameis Winston. We get to see potentially some starters out there. But before I get into all of that, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for sticking with me throughout the offseason. And I want to also let you know that I'm going to be live during the first preseason game. So if you want to chat, hang out like we usually do on game days for the first preseason game, make sure you're subscribed and notified because that stream will be going up and I will be watching the preseason game with you guys here on this channel. So make sure y'all check it out. But there's a lot to look forward to in this game, and it starts with Jameis Winston, in my opinion. Now, we're not going to see Deshaun Watson. Word is still up in the air about if we're gonna see Deshaun Watson in the preseason. I think they're gonna go day by day, week by week on that. It doesn't seem like he's at risk of, if they really wanted to play him in the preseason, he wouldn't play. It's just right now they're seeing where he's at. Does it make sense? Is it the right opportunity? And it's very possible that the right opportunity just might not be here this offseason and he doesn't play in the preseason. But Jameis will. And unlike most backups, I still think this is important that Jameis is going to play. One, you do want to just see Jameis Winston demonstrate a basic ability to be able to run the offense and do the things that he's supposed to do. I think that's all kind of obvious. You don't want Jameis to look bad. You want to feel good in case Deshaun has to not play for a game or two or a quarter or two, that Jameis Winston can hold it down and it ain't going to be no big deal. But you want to also keep an eye on, and I think what's going to be more important, is the offense, right? Because the way that Jameis runs this offense will be similar, not exact, but similar to how Deshaun runs it. Now, again, it's going to be vanilla. It's going to be basic. It's not going to be like the Browns are opening up the playbook, but it will be the basics, the vanilla stuff that goes into building everything else for this Browns offense that they will run this year. So you want to see how the wide receiver routes look, right? Like, are there going to be a lot of choice routes? How do they handle these choice routes? What looks like it determines on the choice routes on which coverages, right? Like, paying attention to the flow of the offense. How often are they attacking downfield? Are they running the ball a lot? Are they running the ball out of specific formations? Are they running the ball out of new formations? Are they getting used to different things? Are they stacking wide receivers? Is there more motion in the offense? Those kind of things, paying attention to those kind of process-oriented things that you're going to see in the preseason, it's going to be very important to kind of determine what the Ken Dorsey and Tommy Rees influence is going to be. The Browns have a new offensive line coach and a new running backs coach, which means that they're going to be doing things a little bit differently from the offensive line and from the running backs. How many offensive linemen, well, not how many offensive linemen, but are they going to have a tight end? What personnel packages are they coming out of a lot? What formations out those personnel packages? When they run the ball, what kind of run plays are they running, right? Are they going to be running a lot of downhill stuff? Are they going to be running a lot of guard center guard combo stuff? What kind of changes, subtle as they may be, are being had by what the Browns are choosing to run offensively in a game setting? I think all of those things are going to be very important to watch, and it's going to be most important when Jameis Winston is out there. Now, more than likely, Jameis plays 2, maybe 3 series. After Jameis Winston, you'll likely get to see Tyler Huntley. After Tyler Huntley, it'll be DTR for the rest of the game. And I think each quarterback gives you something to watch, which is going to be something new this year in the preseason, right? There's going to be no, all right, Kellen Mond's on, it's time to end the stream and get on to everything else, I think you're going to want to pay attention to all 4 quarters of this game, because there's not going to be a quarterback on the field that you're not going to want to see what's going on with, right? With Tyler Huntley out there, you want to see how similar can he be to what Jameis is providing to the offense. He's not going to be the same, but is he going to be enough to justify being rostered? With DTR, you want to see if he's made some real tangible improvements to what his limitations were last year. We know DTR is somebody who is capable of looking very good in a preseason game. We know that if you let him run a vanilla offense and you let him throw between 10 and 15 yards, he's going to look pretty good. That's not what I want to see out of DTR. I want to see DTR have a little bit more accuracy stretching the field, because the limitations he had last year handcuffed him to a point where he's not sustainable to put out there in any situation. So you need to see him make progress on those areas where he was handicapped. I know DTR can get rid of the ball quickly and throw the ball as fast as he can to his first read. But what I need DTR to do is be comfortable dropping back and waiting for something to happen. Can DTR, outside of the first second of a drop, throw anything with anticipation? Can he throw with anticipation down the field? Can he be somebody who's capable of running the whole plethora of plays that the Browns have? This will go a long way in defining whether DTR is going to be in the break glass in case of emergency conversation as far as quarterbacks go, which is 4th on that depth chart and not dressing on game days, or if he's somebody that you're comfortable in being able to play if need be. Last year, they felt like they were there, but after he played, didn't feel like it, right? They need to figure that out with DTR, and they need to figure that out with Tyler Huntley. Now, Tyler Huntley has experience as a backup quarterback. He's much older than DTR, so he has a leg up from a on-the-field standpoint. So it's going to be a lot for DTR to overcome. But that's what you want to see. And I think DTR will probably get the whole second half. Maybe Tyler Huntley gets whatever's left of the first quarter in the second quarter. You come back from halftime, it's just going to be DTR for the rest of the game. You are going to see some of the Green Bay Packers starters. I don't know if the Browns are going to counter that with playing their starting secondary. Now, Greg Newsom's not playing right now, so it will be Cam Mitchell instead of Greg. Martin Emerson's are going to be out there, and I would be shocked if Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith is out there. I don't believe Dalvin Tomlinson is back either yet, so you're not going to see him. So by default, the Browns aren't going to be playing that many starters. Maybe you get somebody like a JOK to be out there, and with JOK, it is going to be important to see how he plays his new role a little bit differently. Is he going to be in coverage a little bit more often? Can he be in coverage more often? I think Ronnie Hickman is somebody who's going to get a ton of playing time in this game. Going to want to see a lot of Ronnie Hickman, and you're going to want to see Ronnie Hickman kind of improve on what he did last year. I thought he had a pretty promising fresh rookie year, so it's going to be even more imperative that he has a impressive preseason campaign this year to build on top of that. The same thing with D'Anthony Bell, who's flashed a couple of years in camp and flashed when he played out there. Just want to see him add on top of that. You want to see Ronnie McLeod look fine. I don't think he's going to play too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does play in this game. And then there's the young linebackers you get into, right? The Nathaniel Watsons that I think are going to be important to look at. I do think that we're going to get an opportunity to see Jordan Hicks, hopefully. Like, if you get to see Jordan Hicks, that would be good. He's somebody that we don't really have that much familiarity with, and we want to see what his role is going to be in this offense and how that kind of complements what JOK does in this defense, So that's another player that we're going to be pretty excited to get a look at if we get the opportunity to get a look at. Mike Hall, if we're talking about defensive linemen, I think he's going to be the guy that we come out of this talking about, or has a lot of potential to be the guy, because he has that plus level potential because his ball get up is elite, right? Like, he gets off that ball, he has that quickness that not a lot of people have, or you can't teach it what he has. Now, the truth about Mike Hall is also he's 20 years old. So as much as he has those exciting pieces about him and the exciting talent that he has, Got to remember he's 20 years old. It reminds me of somebody who's on the Steelers, was on the Ravens, Pat Queen. Pat Queen, and I talked about this, and I think Derek was the one that brought it up, Steelers DB. Pat Queen was 20 when he entered the league. And then, like, it took until he was 23 to really develop and look good. But that makes sense because most football players aren't professional quality until they're 23. Mike Hall is 20. He's super young. I think he might have turned 21, but he's 20. He's young. He's 20 or 21. He's fresh. It's going to take him a little while. He might be able to contribute early, but that's going to be very rare for a defensive lineman. But he does have the tools that'll make him flash. And you just want to see him add on that, right? If he flashes a little bit in the preseason this year, let's be fine. Maybe he makes some plays during the regular season, cool. But it's going to be a little bit of a longer process with him because he's a younger player. And the payoff for that is that you can have him on the roster longer because he's younger. So hopefully that pays off. Siaki Ika is another one that you hope to see some improvement out of. I want Siaki Ika to shut me up, right? Like that's my hope in the preseason, that Siaki Ika makes me look like a damn fool. And I'm hoping that he does it because I really need to have Siaki Ika, especially while Dalvin Tomlinson is out, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity to play, to prove to me why he should be on the field. I do not want to come out of this preseason talking about how Javon Briggs should really be on the roster, or some other nose or one tech should fill the role that Siaki Ika does. I want to see Siaki Ika to shut me up, shut his detractors up, and solidify and earn that he is that number 2 guy. Like, I want there to be a reason that Siaki Ika is on the roster. And I want him to force there to be a reason that he's on the roster. And that includes me being wrong about Siaki Ika. But if I'm wrong, we're doing better on this one. So Siaki Ika, make me look like a damn fool. I want you to do it because I want you to be good for the team to be good. So an injury report before I talk about the wide receivers. I think Tony Fields and Jerry Jeudy, they didn't practice on Thursday, but despite practicing earlier in the week, so they may or may not play. I think it's up in the air with both of them. Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harris, Jordan Hicks, they didn't practice. They're not going to play in this game, more than likely. So you might see Jordan Hicks. I think he's the one on that list that could play in this game and probably has to the most. But Shelby Harris, Zadarius Smith, would be surprised if they played. Greg Newsome not going to play, and Deonta Foreman not going to play in this game more than likely. So let's jump to these wide receivers because I think seeing Cedric Tillman is going to be important, right? If Cedric Tillman is out there and playing well and not getting miscommunications and winning these jump balls and putting his talent to tangible use on that football field, I think that's a good thing for the Cleveland Browns' future. A lot of people really believe in Cedric Tillman's upside. There is a lot of reason to believe in that upside, but upside is fine. Skills are, well, not skills, talent, you know, he has it in spades. We need to see him turn that into football skills. So we'll see with Cedric Tillman where he's at. Elijah Moore is somebody I'm excited to see in the preseason because, again, just super under the radar. Like, it's like we forgot that Elijah Moore completely existed with all this talking about Brandon Ayuk and Jerry Jeudy and whether we should keep Amari Cooper or not. We really have forgotten about Elijah Moore. Thought he played really well at the end of the season. Really did think he turned around his season once he got a little bit of stability at that quarterback position and a little bit of comfort in the Browns offense. I look for him to improve off of what he did. And I think we might be talking about Elijah Moore a lot more after these preseason games than we are right now. He's kind of the forgotten guy. He's kind of been written off now that it seems like Jerry Jeudy is here. But Jerry Jeudy is not here to take over what Elijah Moore does. I think he's here to make sure that you can make Elijah Moore what he is instead of having to force him to try to be Deebo Samuel. So I think there's a lot there. Again, probably not seeing Jerry Jeudy now that I think about it, but there's a chance that you see Jerry Jeudy. But Elijah Moore, I really want to see how he looks. I really am interested in how Cedric Tillman looks. I think those are the two wide receivers that you're probably going to want to pay attention to the most. If we're talking about offensive line play, Zach Zinter, we're going to have our eyes on him. Luke Whippler, again, another guy we're going to have our eyes on. I'm pretty sure James Hudson's not going to look great out there at left tackle if he goes up against ones especially like when they're not designing stuff to protect him. So it's going to be what it's going to be with James Hudson, but I do want to see what the young guys look like. And as far as running backs go, it stinks that we're likely not going to see Deontay Foreman play in the preseason or in this preseason game. It would be very nice if we could see him. But Jerome Ford, you want to see if there's been some improvement there on his day-to-day ability as a running back. You're not going to see Nyheim Hines. He's still recovering from an ACL injury. Same thing with Nick Chubb. But, Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong, these are all names that we're pretty familiar with. You want to see if there's been any improvement. I know a lot of people are excited about Aiden Robbins. You could see him a lot in the second half of this game potentially. But there's a lot of things to watch there. I don't think the running back position is a ton. It gives you a ton, but I think wide receiver, offensive line, quarterback, all going to be a lot more intriguing things to watch for this offense at least. But that's the preview going into the game. Make sure you're locked in, subscribed and notified, hit that bell. So when I go live later today, you can be there in the stream chatting it up with me while we watch some Browns football for the first time. Well, not the first time in 2024 because the Browns did make the playoffs last year, but for the first time for the 2024-25 season. It's back. You can smell it. I can't smell it. I still got COVID, but you can smell it. And that's all that's important. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.